nice to be here at Downham Market with my friends. He's supposed to be dressed in 60s, I think he's in 90s.
I'll be on the door.
My wife, Chris, this is Alan, plays drums. Occasionally.
Shake hands with him on the film.
Oh, listen. Alright, Phil. Well, we're going to wander around now.
Try saying that after a beat. And that's for those of you who haven't got tickets for tonight.
Flower, Sherry. I'm the flower. My wife's a good as well. That coat, actually. I'm no good for a jump. I tell you what, stop hitting my head.
What do you think of everything? 60s Day.
She's absolutely wonderful. It's lovely to see that the effort, and not just the shopkeepers have made, but all the members of the public coming through, including my sergeant, who entered into the spirit of
Oh, thank you. It's nice being here, actually. I came yesterday and walked around the town and that, and it's very, very nice. And I think it's such a success, you know, what this 60s theme, and I think it's credit to all the people in the town for what they've done.
We've obviously had the classic cars and the bikes and all that kind of thing out
Yes.
there. I mean, that obviously must bring back a lot of memories for a lot of people, but I mean, what does it bring back for you?
Well, I was walking past them, you know, and I said, look at this car. It's older than me, and it had 1934. Well, I was born in 1936. And I thought they were tremendous. I see some beautiful cars there, you know, fantastic. My memory of the first car, I used to have an old Banger. It was first of all, I had an Armstrong Siddeley, and the doors fell off, right? And then I had an old Banger, and then I got a hit record, and I went out and bought a new E-Type Jag, and it was 338 VU. First car I'd had, 4 miles of bonnet. So my memory of the 60s is my E-Type Jag, and driving Roy Orbison, taking Roy to the theatre and being stopped for speeding by the police.
That's a claim to fame now.
Well, isn't it? Well, a funny thing was, we were doing the tour with Roy, and I invited Roy around to my house. Now, the house we lived in was like a little 2 up and 2 down, terraced house, you know, cost £600. And the car outside was £1,800. So, I mean, that's how mental I was, you know, really.
You must be quite honoured because basically you are the star that is here, you know, representing the 60s Day.
Well, I feel very honoured, actually. I feel honoured yesterday that at the Collectors' Room they opened this room, and it's a big photograph or a big painting of myself, 7 foot high, that Alan, the drummer, had done, you know, and it's absolutely tremendous. And it's a tribute to the 60s, but it features Freddie and the Dreamers more than anyone else. I think that's simply because Nick's father, right, who runs it, Eric, you know, he's a Freddie and the Dreamers fan, and I think that his son being in the group, obviously that added to it as well.
Can we just ask you, gentlemen, why are you not dressed in 60s clothes?
We are. Well, I've got my Elvis shirt on, look, and my leather jeans. He's got his leather coat on.
Yeah, and blue jeans on. What do you think they wore in the 60s? Space suits?
Prior to the Dreamers, it was the red socks skiffle group. We used to wear bright red socks. I finished with the band, and I decided that, you know, I'd had enough, sort of thing, and the girlfriend I was going out with didn't want me anymore. So what I did, I sold my amplifier and my guitar to a lad called Roy Crutzen. And Roy had this skiffle group called the Kingfishers. And he said, I was coming back from the pictures one night, and he says to me, I asked him how things were going on. He said, oh, it's fine. He said, why don't you pop in to a rehearsal and see what you think? And the girl I was going out with said, yes, you do, meaning don't. And I did. Right? So on the Friday went round, and then the following Friday went round, and the following Friday went round. So in the end, they asked me if I would lead the band. So I said, well, we need to find a new name for the band. And at that time, I was selling brushes in the area where I lived, and it was well known, you know, that we were looking for this name. And a lady says to me, she says, have you found a name for the band yet? So I says, no, not yet. So she said, oh, you're a lot of dreamers. So I thought, oh, dreamers, that sounds quite good. And we had a chat with the lads, and all I got together and decided, like, we call ourselves the Dreamers, and then eventually it became Freddie and the Dreamers. So that's the story, folks.
I mean, obviously, you've had several big hits. The one that springs to mind for me was You Were Made For Me.
Right.
But that wasn't your first hit, was it?
No, If You're Gonna Make a Fool of Somebody was the first hit. And it was apparent when we'd done the song, it was a good song, but it was the routine we did to the song that sold the record. So obviously the next song was the song I wrote with Mitch Murray called I'm Telling You Now, and we applied a routine that we used to do to a bachelor boy when we used to take the mickey out of the Shadows. Applied that dance routine to I'm Telling You Now. Prior to me being interested in skiffle or anything, I was an Al Jolson fan and going down on one knee. And the next song was You Were Made For Me. I went down on one knee. Obviously it was the Jolson influence. And again, visual aspect, kicking our legs out and all that. 3 dance routines, 3 hit records. The 4th record, which was a hit, went to number 9. And it wasn't as successful because there was nowhere our legs could go. We'd gone everywhere, you know. So we dropped the routines after that.
And the strange thing is, you've not had a British #1, and yet you've been #1 in the US.
That was 2 years later, in 1965. Again, it was the visual aspect. What had happened was that Brian Epstein had a programme. He was hosting a programme in America, and he said, there's a group in England called Freddie and the Dreamers, and they're very funny. I'll show you a clip of them. They showed this clip of Freddie and the Dreamers singing I'm Telling You Now. I got invited across to America. We performed on a show that was being hosted by Trini Lopez. And Trini says to me, he says, this dance, what's it called? And I thought, dance? I had no idea what to say. And so I said, oh, it's the Freddie. Next minute, you know, we were #1 with I'm Telling You Now. 6 months later, they brought out a song called Do the Freddie. And it was a dance craze over America. So 65 was a great year for me.
Hey, Taylor! Can you hear us? Robin Craddock from West Beach.
Yes.
I'm sure you've met lots of bands. Have you sort of ever performed with the Beatles or whatever?
Oh, yeah, I knew the Beatles very well. In 1965, we appeared on the Beatles' Christmas show at Hammersmith Odeon. And I came on swinging on a rope wearing a tutu and said I wasn't daft. And Jimmy Savile was hosting the show, and there was the Yardbirds. Elkie Brooks was bottom of the bill. You know, she was an unknown sort of thing. And that was one period. And then, of course, when I'm in the studio recording at Abbey Road, same place where the Beatles recorded, I went in to see the lads, and I was introduced to Yoko. And John Lennon says, I got it, it's beat Yoko. So I met Yoko and had to pass the time on and this, that and the other. So I knew the boys quite well, yes.
see the drummer? We have got a drummer. We've got a drummer. He's there, but couldn't you hear him all right?
This is the first time back in 10 weeks because I was in Connecticut and had a mild heart attack, and so I've had to sort of rest, you know. So that's the reason. But tonight's so important because, you know, I want to do a good performance here. And I've got a super group, you know, they really are a fabulous group. We've set up now for tonight. We've yet to do a sound check, but I think people will be pleased with us. I hope so, in any case.
So I take it none of the backing band, the Dreamers, are the original?
No, they're all Japanese copies.
What the rest of the lads?
Well, Roy, the one lad I met in the Avenue, who played rhythm guitar, he's got a bar, 2 bars in Tenerife, one called Churchill's and one called Dreamers. Right, Derek Quinn, I think, is a rep for a drinks firm, I'm not quite sure. Bernie Dwyer, nobody knows what Bernie does. He plays in a cellar now and again, keeps his hand in playing drums. And then Pete Bill got cheesed off with all the travelling, so he's now driving a taxi. That's true.
Well, good luck tonight.
Thank you, thank you.
Good night, first of all, from me. Let's do it for me! Oh. Let's hit it for Howard! Let's hit it for Simon! Let's hit it for Nick Mosley. Nick! Ladies and gentlemen, what about the legendary Mr. Freddie Garrity? Thank you.
Great, fantastic. It's absolutely wonderful. Really is. Couldn't be better, could it? Everybody's taking part. And everybody's having fun, which I think is great. Really, yeah. That's what it's all
You've really
about.
got into it, haven't you?
Yes. Well, and the glasses as well. Does that finish it off?
Certainly does.
You're pleased with that, are you?
Yes.
Oh dear. I hate to think if is Lawrence editing this.